And the big opportunity I'm seeing from this is to really hone in on your... There's a shift happening in SEO that's about to lead to a big opportunity for creators. Last week, I went to my first SEO conference in San Diego. It was the Ahrefs Evolve conference. And I got to meet so many SEOs that range everywhere from agency owners to marketing managers at startups and even VPs and directors of SEO at huge enterprise level companies. I learned a lot and it confirmed a lot of the things that I'm already seeing and have been seeing in SEO for the past year. So from all the conversations that I had at the conference and heard, to all the data I'm seeing on my own clients' websites, to even having my own website trending in Google, which is crazy, I thought it would be appropriate to make a SEO Trends 2026 video. I've broken it down into 5 trends that I'm personally seeing, and if you can pick up on the shift in these trends, you're going to win in 2026. So the first one is the rise of branded search tactics. So in SEO, we love to talk about non-branded search traffic, which is growing the traffic from keywords that don't include your brand name, but there is a lot of benefit to actually growing your branded search volume and being able to do that alongside certain product categories that you're actually trying to rank for. So for this trend, what I'm seeing is that it's actually a really good idea in 2026 to start getting people to search for your brand in the category that you're trying to dominate. So there's an agency named Rise at 7, and they help this e-commerce brand that sells lights and rechargeable lights called Pookie. They launched a creator campaign on TikTok and Instagram Reels. And in that campaign, they got people to go to Google and start searching for Pookie rechargeable light. And in doing so, over some time, and a lot of people searching Pookie rechargeable light, Pookie started to actually rank on the first page of Google for just the term rechargeable light. And so Google started to make this association that people were searching rechargeable lights, so Pookie equals rechargeable light. Now, you can find ways to do this in your own niche. This works really well if you're an e-commerce brand or a software company, or really any company where you can get people to search your brand name plus a product category. So for example, let's say you're going to do a YouTube sponsorship campaign for your startup and you want the creator's call to action in that sponsorship video, sure, to be like, check out the link in the description, but you can tell them to actually tell their audience to go and search for your brand name plus your product category. And if you attach some sort of coupon code or discount code to that offer that you're giving creators for their audiences, it'll incentivize the creator's audience to actually go to Google and do the actual search along with the coupon code that they have in mind to use. So what to do with this trend? Find ways to grow branded search that include your target keywords. Use social media content, influencer partnerships, or PR to get people searching for your brand name plus target keyword in Google. This association signals to Google that your brand owns that topic. Okay, trend number 2. EEAT will be the number 1 ranking factor. If you don't know, EEAT stands for experience, expertise, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness. Google has their own guidelines on what this is, and I highly recommend that you go check it out and you read up on it. There's actually a lot of gold on how to actually approach SEO in Google's documentation, but I'm going to give it to you all right here, the whole main gist of it. To me, EEAT is essentially social proof. You can have a blog where you can say, I'm the best at doing so-and-so. Like I have a marketing blog. I can say, I'm the best at SEO. I'm the best at marketing, which I'm not, but I can say those things, but it doesn't really prove to Google or people around me that that is true. What others say about you matters more than what you say about yourself. And to me, that's social proof about your brand. And what I'm seeing right now is that Google is actually rewarding smaller bloggers written by people with real lived experience, which is the first part of EAT, over faceless corporate blogs. Now, it's probably not the case that Google is actually seeking out these smaller bloggers. What's happening is that people that are searching in Google are done with big corporate blogs and all this AI content. So they're actively seeking out and clicking on these links that look like they're from smaller bloggers. And in doing so, it's sending a lot of user signals to Google that it should rank those pages higher. And a lot of times these smaller bloggers, they have more trust, they have a small intimate audience, and they can become an authoritative voice in their space if they stick to a niche. So in other words, niche blogging is kind of back. So how do you actually do this? Because this, I think, is one of the hardest things, but it's the most important one, and why I think my website does so well among some other huge SEO companies in the space is because it has really good EEAT. And to do this, you want to build your brand outside of your website. So you want to go on podcasts, you want to do interviews, you want to get mentioned on third-party websites, you want to collaborate with other adjacent startups in your niche. And what you're trying to do is you want to make sure that what others say about you confirms what you say about yourself. For example, I talk a lot about SEO, and I went on Beehive, which is the newsletter platform that I use. They invited me to do their creator spotlight. And in that interview, I talked about doing SEO and how I did it at Webflow. And they wrote up a whole article on that, and it went live on their website. So Google is able to make these connections that Beehive is saying that I know something about SEO. On my own website, I talk about SEO. And so it puts those two together, and then a lot of my content around SEO starts to rank well. The other thing too is that while Google is mostly automated and it's just robots handling the algorithm, there are actually people that manually go and review content. And this is where Google's quality score rating comes from. So people will go on your website, maybe they have 30 seconds to a minute to just quickly evaluate it. Does this website look legit? Is there a about page on this website? Are there proper navigation links on this website? Is there an author bio? Does the content look good? Is it people first content? Is it not trying to game the algorithm? Does this brand look legit? And does the content at a first glance look pretty authoritative and trustworthy? And then those people give a score, and this is how Google starts to actually weigh websites above others in search engines. Like, you can have a website with a really low domain authority outrank a huge website that has a high domain authority that's been around for decades, simply because that smaller website has a higher quality score rating. But on top of that, while Google does say to make sure your content is people first, and I completely agree, it doesn't mean that you should ignore how search engines crawl, index, and rank content. And that comes all into understanding technical and on-page SEO, and then also understanding copywriting and the people first stuff, which is videos I have talked about. For example, my strategy video, I'll leave a link above. I did talk about, how to actually create content for people. So what do you do with this trend? Build your brand social proof, go on podcasts, do interviews, build your reviews on third-party websites, grow your mentions online, and the websites that win in 2026 are the ones that build a strong brand that has social credibility. Okay, the third trend is clickbait titles with pronouns, and I think Google is becoming more like YouTube. Traditional SEO titles are getting replaced by titles with personality. So for this trend, try to think of ways to use first person or second person pronouns like I, we, my, or you, or your to add a human touch to your titles. For example, in the past, if you wanted to rank for best adjustable dumbbells, a typical SEO title would have been like 10 best adjustable dumbbells in 2026. Now, this becomes something like tested by fitness experts, 10 best adjustable dumbbells 2026. So you can see it's kind of added a more personalized twist to it. Another example would be like a WordPress review 2026. Is this platform good? That type of title becomes something more like an honest WordPress review, my pros and cons after 2 years. So if you want to get good at writing these personalized titles for SEO, you can actually go to YouTube and search the topic that you're trying to rank for and filter it by most viewed and see what the top viewed videos are on that topic and see if there's anything that you can kind of take from those as ideas to add to your own SEO titles. You can also go back and forth with ChatGPT or Claude on this to get some ideas, but the idea here is that you just want to create these more personalized titles with pronouns, and the key here is to deliver on your promise. When I say clickbait, I don't mean bad clickbait, which is when you create a very personalized title that's very intriguing, and then when somebody clicks on that article or a video, it basically fools them and it's like they get bamboozled and it's actually not the actual thing that you were claiming in your title. That is bad clickbait. Good clickbait actually tells truth with the personalities. It's pretty easy to spot when people are lying. For example, there's a lot of articles around like the 10 best tools that we tested. And then when you start reading the article, you can tell that they haven't actually tested those tools. But if you're actually able to be honest with your title and you say, I tested these tools, and people can see you actually tested those tools, then that is when you start to win with this trend. So the goal really here is to have a title that is high CTR, has a high click-through rate, and you deliver on your promise of what is in that piece of content, and that is what leads to better rankings. So what to do with this trend? Rewrite your title tags to include first-person pronouns and emotional hooks that increase your click-through rate. Show personality and make promises that you can actually deliver in the content. Just start thinking more in the terms of, I tested 10 tools for 6 months instead of something like 10 best tools in 2026. That's just an example, but you can see add more personality to it. So staying on the topic of YouTube, the fourth trend I'm seeing is the rise of YouTube for traditional SEO. And video is great because it amplifies your SEO efforts in multiple ways. The first way it does it is that YouTube is the second biggest search engine in the world. I know everyone likes to talk about ChatGPT and Perplexity and all these AI search engines coming up, but what people don't realize is that YouTube is the second biggest search engine outside of Google. And so you can actually get direct traffic from YouTube as well as Google. For example, I made a blog post on the best SEO tools, but I also made a video on the best SEO tools. And if you go into Google, I rank really high for that term. And also, if you go to YouTube, I also rank really high for that term. And so now I'm able to capture organic presence from Google and YouTube because I started creating that YouTube video. But this is actually just one part of it. The second part is that taking those videos and embedding your videos into your blog posts actually increases your time on the page or time on site, and it helps your articles actually rank better over time. So for example, I have an article around my favorite AI marketing tools, and I used to rank around 2 to 3, it would bounce between 2 and 3 for the term AI marketing tools. And earlier on in the year, I made a YouTube video around that topic. I embedded it into that blog post, and now that article ranks number 1, and it's been there for a very long time. So that's the second way. The third way that video really amplifies your SEO efforts is that it makes your brand more human. People see your face, they see your tone of voice, they can judge if you're real. I'm real, there's no AI here. They can see that you're real, and this trust leads to higher conversions when they land on your written content. And this trust also bleeds into the second trend that we talked about, which was EAT, which is why I think that's the most important thing. But these are more tactical ways on how to influence that second trend. So use YouTube and traditional SEO together. Build trust through your videos and improve your existing search rankings by increasing your time on site through embedding YouTube videos into your articles and your landing pages. So what to do with this trend as a recap: create YouTube videos for your best performing blog posts and landing pages and embed them directly into those pages. Use video to build trust and authority, which will then help your written content rank better and convert more visitors once they land on your site. And finally, the fifth trend that I'm seeing, which might rub some people off the wrong way, but I think I can see the writing on the wall for this, and it's AI search hype starts to slow down and reality really starts to catch up with a lot of empty promises. So in 2025 and even 2024, people were panicking around thinking that ChatGPT and Perplexity and Claude and all these AI search tools that were coming out, they would kill Google. Essentially, LLMs would replace the need to search things in Google. And I'll be honest, I was also kind of scared at first. And then I started to really realize that let's take a look at the actual data. So according to SimilarWeb, Google actually has 82.6 billion monthly visitors. ChatGPT, on the other hand, has 5.9 billion. Bing has 3.5 billion, and Perplexity has 169.5 million monthly visitors. You can see Google is way far ahead than any of these. But I think the other thing that's happened recently that has confirmed to me that Google is still the dominant search engine and will continue to be is that ChatGPT Atlas and Perplexity Comet, those two browsers that came out in 2025, they're both built on Chromium, which is Google's open source framework for building web browsers. And This means that Google is still the foundation of AI search. For example, if you go to the ChatGPT Atlas browser and you search something, it has a ChatGPT interface, but once you go into the search results, there's actually a link that tells you to go out to Google, and the 10 blue links it shows is like Google from back in the day. So this just confirms to me that the hype around AI search is going to calm down, and I think we're going to see a new wave of SEO for Google come back with the trends that I talked about earlier, as in like niche blogging and SEO is back, but it's back with more truth and personality, and you have to think more like a YouTube creator to win. Now, the other kind of thing around AI search that has rubbed me the wrong way is that people say that ChatGPT converts like 2 times, 3 times, 4 times better than Google search traffic. And I think this claim is a little bit misleading, because when you're searching for things in ChatGPT, the sources it shows, like the home pages, the pricing pages, product pages, these tend to be like middle to bottom of funnel content, which always converts better, even when it comes from Google traffic. But what ChatGPT doesn't show as much in terms of links pointing out is that top of funnel informational content where it's eating it up. Google, on the other hand, people still will click on top of funnel informational links. So if you were to isolate traffic going to your middle and bottom of funnel pages on your website, the conversion rates from ChatGPT and from Google, I think, are the same thing. It's just that Google's is more diluted and the conversions show less because it's taking into account all the top of funnel content that people are clicking on, whereas ChatGPT is not taking that into account. So it's a little bit of like selection bias going on, and I think people need to really be aware of that when companies are promoting that their tool or their services can do ChatGPT SEO and they convert better. Anyone who does that, don't come after me, but I'm just trying to speak the truth here. And I do think that companies will still experiment with AI search, and there even are some that are using these black hat and gray hat tactics, like creating microsites with AI content and sending backlinks from their main site to the microsite to rank in ChatGPT. So like a huge company will basically spin off and create a small blog or a media company on a completely different domain and just spin up a bunch of 500 to 1,000 word AI generated slop articles and then send backlinks from their main company website to that microsite, and they can influence their ChatGPT rankings. I do think people are still going to do that into 2026. But what I do think is that the big companies, especially the enterprise companies that spent 6 to 7 figures in all these AI SEO tools throughout 2024 and 2025, they're going to struggle to see real ROI from these tools. And these are just from conversations I've had from people that worked at these companies. So in 2026, I do expect that a lot of decision makers at bigger companies are going to become a bit more skeptical and demand proof for renewing their contracts with AI-driven SEO tools and like AI-first agencies. So really, the core of this trend is to focus on Google, because if you rank there, you will show up in ChatGPT and Perplexity, but the way you rank is really dependent on the personality and the brand and the EAT that you develop. So what to do with this trend? Don't panic and don't shift your entire SEO strategy to optimize for AEO or GEO or LLM SEO or other search tools and terms. Keep focusing on Google, which still owns over 90% of the search engine market, and invest in AI search experiments if you have the budget, but don't abandon what's actually driving traffic and conversions today and what's actually influencing these AI search engines as well. So that was my 5 trends. For all of these, there was this subtle shift that I'm seeing in more personality, more human, more lived experience content to combat all of the AI generated content that's happening. And the big opportunity I'm seeing from this is to really hone in on your owned media strategy. And this is the opportunity I'm seeing, which I'm dubbing the SEO media brand. It's something I've been thinking a lot about for over a year now, and it feels like it's becoming more real as time goes on. But this is what I want to start teaching more on this channel. And really what it means is that you create a media brand around your business. So whether you're an e-commerce company or you're a SaaS company or you're a service provider or agency, or even if your actually content is your business and you monetize through affiliates or ads or sponsorships, the idea is using content to fuel your business growth. And in this case, we're building our content around our website and our owned media and building an owned audience through an email list. And so monetization as at the core of this, where we have our products, our services, and either maybe affiliates. And around that, really our main channels are our website for SEO, and that traffic gets distributed to all the search engines. And from that traffic, we can build an email list to actually own our audience, because when we're creating content on SEO and YouTube, algorithms can change. We're sort of renting that traffic. And so we want to have a place to actually own and create a list of people that we can interact with and build a brand around. And from that, we also have our YouTube, which adds to YouTube SEO. It helps with improving the authority and trust of our entire brand. It helps with our SEO efforts, and it all creates a flywheel. And within that outer layer, there's other optimization things that we can do, and we can talk about funnels, we can talk about growth loops, and even automation and AI that kind of ties everything and brings it all together in this cohesive SEO media brand ecosystem. So that was the big opportunity that I'm seeing through these 5 trends. And if there's anything that you want me to make, any videos, leave a comment below. I know you guys have been leaving a lot of comments, and I really appreciate it. A lot of the things that have been mentioned, I will be making videos about. I did have like a little week and a half gap between my last video. I apologize for that. It was because I had some personal stuff going on. I had this conference, I signed a new client, and it was just like pretty intense week, and I kind of dropped the ball on the YouTube videos. But this is honestly one of my favorite things that I do, and I want to make more videos on everything and help you as much as I can. Okay, that's enough rambling and yapping from me. I'll catch you in the next one. Love you. Peace.